very, very sure that's going to happen. Very sure that's going to happen. U.S. has enough people there. I need to come back here.
That's a very important point.
We need you in Sri Lanka, lady and gentlemen.
We need lots of people like her in Sri Lanka, actually. And what is the next step for you, Suhani?
Like I said, I'm still learning. I'm still very much an undergraduate, learning whatever it is that I can. I really want to get my bachelor's over with, and then I want to keep working on Polyroots. Polyroots is really my concentration right now. So that and the other organizations that I'm a part of, I work with the U.S. With a bunch of U.S. fiscal reform campaigns.
Yes.
And the U.S. debt is a huge issue up there. It's like $16 trillion in debt, and it's going to be a huge burden on our generation if someone doesn't try to fix it.
Yes.
So I want to work on those while like right now and out of school, and get some experience, you know, learn. I'm always learning from people around me. I got into everything because of my friends, and like I was encouraged by them and like influenced by them, my professors. So learn as much as I can before we get into anything, because I feel like education and that experience is the best weapon that you can have in any field, anything.
Sanu, what sort of advice that you would like to give out to the fans as well? I think a lot of people would, you know, watch this episode and be like, you know, I want to be someone like you.
Yeah, especially the youth in this country, you know, people who are your age.
Yeah, you know, if there's one remark that I want to leave with, it's that to anyone who's watching right now, I can assure you that I'm very much, to any teenager, I'm very much like you. I'm as normal, as average, and typical as any teenager watching this show right now, any son or daughter of a parent watching right now. So it's a new day, you know, take what you're passionate about, start right now, and just put your mind into it. In a couple of months, or maybe even sooner, you'd be sitting right here talking about your journey. Because as long as you have the passion and drive to do something, anything is possible. And I'm just one of those people who kind of just, I'm still learning, like I keep saying, and I just, you know, I went for it. It's hard work, and if you put your mind to it, you can do anything.
Definitely.
As cliche as that sounds.
It doesn't sound cliche, it's very positive. On that positive and very inspiring note, we are going to go for a very short commercial break right now, and when we are going to be back, Suhani is going to stay here, Banu is going to get out of the studio, and we are going to have two very inspiring and wonderful gentlemen to add up with this wonderful discussion of talking about dynamic youth and how they are making contribution to Sri Lanka and to the world today. So don't go anywhere, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Morning Sri Lanka. We are still with Suhani Pera right now, and we have added a dynamic duo of gentlemen for our guest list today, and they are right now here sitting with me. Banu is unfortunately not with us because I have these wonderful guests to talk to. Like we mentioned before, we've been talking about academic excellence. We talk about young people who actually make a wonderful contribution to the society and who are trying to make a difference in Sri Lanka and outside Sri Lanka as well. So now we would really like to welcome. It's a very privilege to have you here. We have Sachin Parthalingam.
That's right.
Founder of Dialogue, and we also have Sakunda Ratnapriya, who is a co-founder of Dialogue, and Sachin is an undergraduate at the University of Cambridge. Very clever.
Thank you.
And Sakunda is a undergraduate of Rajiv Gandhi University of Health Science. So, which is very, very interesting. And why don't you tell us how you feel this morning?
Well, to be honest, I get up every morning at 10. So yeah, it's a very difficult morning indeed, I should say. I don't know about Sakunta.
Well, I wake up quite early to get off to work. So different, change. Not the usual rushing for work with you all in the studio having a good chat.
Right.
Good morning chat.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that you guys are here, because Dialogue, very interesting word. What is it all about?
Well, Dialogue basically stands for Dynamic Dialogue.
Yes.
And what it is it's a non-profit youth-driven discussion forum, basically. So what we want to do is we take pertinent social, economic issues and then try and kind of initiate the public discussion on it and trigger the public debate, because we find that there is a general apathy amongst the public to engaging in effective dialogue, and we want to kind of foster that and provide some kind of fodder through which we can bring our country into a stage where dialogue and discussion is promoted. So
Dynamic Dialogue, who came up with this?
Well,
we came up with it with our other members of the board.
Yes, tell us about them.
Well, we have members from all over international schools, national schools, and they have contributed greatly towards this idea. It's great to have several personalities from different schools represent different ideas
and backgrounds.
Yes, backgrounds, of course. And like Sachin mentioned, our primary focus lies in firstly creating awareness on these particular issues, and then moving on to getting the public to engage in good debate, and come to their conclusions with a lot of more reasoning than they would usually do.
When you mentioned public, what sort of audience do you really aim for? Is it the general public? Is it the young ones? Or
I think it's the general public. I mean, although we are youth driven, our goal and our target audience would be any citizen of Sri Lanka who is simply interested in being an active citizen and discussing the issues at hand that need to be discussed. So we don't have a set domain as such, but
yes, we don't have a particular target audience, but we would love the youth to join in this initiative, while of course the general public is the adults also.
Just adding on to what Sakunda said, I think, I mean, one thing we want to stress is that we do not have to have a doctorate or a PhD to get involved in the discussion of important national issues. I mean, that's why we want to kind of stimulate youth initiative from the grassroots level and kind of end this culture of subservience that kind of exists.
That's, I think, something to do with even what Sohani said. In Sri Lanka, there's this people are prone to actually believe that the youth are not able to do anything until they get qualifications, written qualifications. Yeah, that's in every field according to what we see in society. So I think that's very important what you just said. Sohani, why don't you what do you think about this?
Well, it's funny because I came here and I was talking to them before and I was like, oh, so what do you guys do? It's like, oh, we founded Dynalog. I was like, no way, because I knew about Dynalog. So you're doing your job because I knew about you before.
Hopefully.
And I was so proud when I first heard about the whole initiative. I could not have been prouder because they're so young and so full of ideas and energy that they're putting into this huge effort. And like they mentioned, they come from all paths of Sri Lanka, and with that comes a lot of diversity and a lot of ideas, and they're doing a fantastic job so far, and I'm very proud, honestly.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
We are, and indeed, and I'm sure the youth out there who are watching must be really eager to know how do we get involved in this?
Well, basically what we have is we have a team of volunteers, and so any member of the public, regardless of age, regardless of language, because we are trilingual forum, can subscribe to our website and sign up to our volunteer list, and then you'll be called up to engage with the discussion basically. It's not hard at all. I mean, we have a Facebook page, we have a website that's up and running. And our first issue actually, this is our inaugural issue, our first theme, because we've been operating.
Yes, please mention that. I actually wanted to ask you that question. What is the inaugural issue?
It's actually addressing income disparities and poverty alleviation in post-war Sri Lanka. So that's our first theme for this month, it's July. And we found that I think is a key social issue to discuss, because I mean, the issue of poverty is concentrated within the hands of a few public policy makers and politicians, and the fact is that it is a moral issue, a moral issue that the youth need to engage in, because there are so many child poverty in Sri Lanka is so high.
Of course.
And you also need to touch up with rehabilitation, post-war rehabilitation and stuff like that. So Hani, I know that you're involved in post-war rehabilitation and basically social activism based on that. So how could you how do you look at that?
When I was here when the war officially ended, I guess, and then I moved shortly after, and there was only so much I could do from not being in Sri Lanka. I think, and that kind of led me to being an activist for Sri Lankan people, despite whatever race or whatever, just Sri Lankan people outside of Sri Lanka. So thankfully the Sri Lankan embassy in in America has a program called Sri Lankan Day in Congress, which allows Sri Lankans from all over North America to come to Congress and meet with a huge number of congressmen and senators, which they obviously have a huge part to do with policy in America. And we get to talk to them about how policies or bills that they pass or may not pass, how they affect Sri Lankan people and how they affect our kind of rehabilitation in our areas, you know. So I was so like amazingly blessed to be able to do that, and I got to talk to U.S. senators and congressmen about what they do affects Sri Lanka and our people. And they were, you know, they were supportive. They were really informative, and like they were informed by what we had to say. And I encouraged like anyone who lives in North America or anything like that, please like reach out to your your representatives and talk to them about these issues, because they're interested. They want to know. And you can do a lot if you don't, even if you don't live in Sri Lanka, you can do a lot to help out in these efforts.
Definitely. Talking about speaking to the representatives and speaking to the authorities, what does Dialogue take as the initiative for that? Who do you actually approach in this case?
Well, I mean, the thing is, we prepare trilingual articles on our issue, and then we blog on that, and then we feature it in our website and through social media and so on. And we're in the process of partnering up with some of the newspapers in Sri Lanka to feature our monthly articles. And to supplement that, we are planning on hosting supplementary events, so basically workshops, panel discussions, seminars, to kind of take the message in our articles out into the public domain and basically trigger the discussion through that.
So we'll have a theme for a month, and our article will be on that theme, followed by panel discussions, workshops, where we get the public very much involved in one particular forum, as we are a forum, a youth-driven forum.
So who decides on the topic? I mean, who gets to speak up for the topic?
Well, that's a good question, actually. I mean, we have about 20 people in our team, so we kind of thrust ideas at each other. And I think it's important to note that our focus is on tackling issues that do not garner sufficient media attention, and in particular public attention, because if you look at the public domain and if you open the papers this morning, it's all about politics. And
it's almost pretty much the same thing.
Exactly. One after the other, politics, this MP, that minister, so on and so forth. But there are so many other issues that are not as sensational that they can't get into the media spotlight. So what we want to do is to bring those issues into the spotlight and get the public chatting about them. Just generate the chat. I mean, without citizens just chatting about things randomly over dinner, you know, with a conversation with a friend, we can never think of moving into a true democracy, into a democracy with vibrant citizens.
Absolutely, absolutely. Talking about true democracy, all of you guys are involved in MUN, or were involved in MUN. So why don't you tell us about that, because that's something that you guys have in common, which is actually very interesting and inspiring to me as well. I'm sure the people out there, the youth out there, must be very eager to know how that went.